Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti. We are currently exploring the scripture Mysticism of Srimad Bhagavatam. Commentaries by my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. In today's satsang, we will discuss the myriad wives of Krishna. As the stories of Sri Krishna's life unfold in Srimad Bhagavatam, we see Krishna as a young man who is the beloved of countless gopis or cowherdesses. When Krishna reached marriageable age and assumed the rulership of Dwarka, he then became the beloved husband of myriad queens. As we have seen, Krishna's first bride was Rukmini. Because of the objections of her brother Rukmi to their marriage, Krishna had to steal Rukmini away in his chariot just before her wedding to Shishupal was to take place. The second bride of Krishna was Jambavanti. She was joyfully given in marriage to Krishna by her father Jambavan after that mighty and ancient bear returned the precious jewel, the Samyantak money, to Krishna. Krishna's third bride was Satyabhama. They were married after Krishna returned the same jewel to the hands of Satyajit, who then insisted with great delight that his daughter become Krishna's wife. The fourth queen chosen by Krishna was Kalindi. One day, when Krishna was visiting the Pandavas at Indraprasth, he and Arjuna went to bathe in the Yamuna river. There they saw a lovely maiden walking along the banks. The maiden introduced herself as Kalandi, daughter of the sun god. Kalindi further explained that she would indeed like to wed, but only Lord Vishnu himself. Krishna was delighted to have Kalindi as his wife, and after returning to Dwarka, the two were married. After helping Arjuna to destroy Khandava forest, Krishna met Mitravinda and they wished to marry. However, Mitravinda's brother Vinda and Anuvinda were under the domination of Duryodhan, the leader of the Pandavas. Therefore, these rulers would not permit Mitravind to choose Krishna as her husband. As a result, before the eyes of the kings who were interested in marrying the princess, Krishna forcibly stole Mitravind away and made her his fifth bride. Next, Krishna wished to marry Satya, the daughter of a king named Nagnajit. Krishna approached the king and asked for his daughter's hand in marriage. Nagnajit was delighted but explained that he had made a vow that only the suitor who could control and tame 7 wild bulls would be the proper match for her husband. So Krishna agreed to these terms and immediately prepared to encounter the bulls. He manifested himself in 7 forms and fought and defeated all the 7 bulls at once. Satisfied, Nagnajit allowed his daughter to be married to Krishna and endowed them with the treasure of billions of elephants and horses as a wedding gift. Thus Satya became the 6th queen of Krishna. The 7th bride of Krishna was Bhadra, a princess from the kingdom of Kekya. She was joyfully given in marriage to Krishna by her brother without the need for force or heroic encounters. Next, Krishna was married to the lovely and auspicious Lakshmana. Krishna carried her off during her Swayamvara ceremony, and thus Lakshmana became Krishna's 8th queen. This Lakshmana is the same name as Lord Rama's brother, so don't confuse the two. She was a woman and Lord Rama's brother was in a male form, but just the names were identical. Finally, in addition to Rukmini, Jambavanti, Satyabhama, Kalindi, Mitravrinda, Satya, Bhadra and Lakshmana, Krishna then became married to 16,000 maidens whom he freed from imprisonment by Bhamasur or Narakasura. So this is the interesting episode of various ways of how Lord Krishna did Leela in his human form. So let us look at the mystical meaning. For people without insight into the language of allegory, the story of Krishna and his numerous brides is exceedingly confusing. But in many religions, mystical language referring to the soul and God as lover and beloved is used. For example, in Christianity, nuns consider themselves brides of Christ. In the Old Testament, apparently, amorous language, see the Song of Solomon, is used to describe the soul's union with God. If the symbolism is not understood properly, such language can be easily misinterpreted. So this is why we need sages and saints and gurus to explain the deeper hidden meanings behind these scriptures. With normal intelligence, we cannot grasp it. With deeper philosophical insight into the mystical meaning that underlies the stories of Krishna's relationships with both the gopis and his queens, one realizes that Srimad Bhagavatam is never directing our mind to worldly values. Its purpose is only to direct our mind to the glory and grandeur of God. When Krishna was growing up as a child, he was surrounded by thousands of gopis who loved him intensely. That stage is symbolic of the internal joy that unfolds when a devotee discovers the divine presence, God within. As we develop love of God, countless feelings that have been suppressed begin to flow to God, and those feelings are represented by the gopis. They are sattvic or pure sentiments sporting with the divine self. The queens of Krishna, however, represent numerous attributes of God. Rukmini, divine glory. Jambavanti represents superconsciousness or samadhi. Satyabhama, the light of truth. Kalindi, purity or intellect. Mitravinda, beloved of his devotees. Satya, reality. Bhadra, goodness. And Lakshmana, auspiciousness. These are the major attributes, and there are thousands of minor attributes of God representing the 16,000 other wives. In Sanskrit, the word soul is jivatma, feminine gender, so all souls are therefore potentially brides, and God is like a mighty mystic magnet drawing all those souls to himself, the beloved bridegroom. Those who marry Krishna are not women marrying a man, but highly advanced souls communing with God, uniting with God. Emergent qualities as the divine potentiality unfolds. The soul within us is the potential Krishna. As the soul evolves, various divine potentialities begin to unfold. So the soul is wedded to higher levels of consciousness. It begins to experience the vision of truth, peace, joy, contentment, and other divine qualities or attributes. Yoga Vasishtha also uses that type of simile when Vasishtha tells Rama that an enlightened sage is a kind of householder. He has his whole house within his heart, and he is never alone. He has the most wondrous companions such as contentment, bliss, peace, balance of mind, and serenity, and they are constantly delighting him, serving him. Rukmini, Jambavanti, Satyabhama, and Kalandi all symbolize, symbolize the effulgence and brilliance of intuitional insight. Such intuition blooms when the mind is entering into profound meditation and samadhi. Samadhi, superconscious state where time and space move away. Kalandi was first seen by Krishna practicing austerity on the banks of Yamuna river, which symbolizes Karma Yoga. She represents that aspect of intellect which guides an aspirant to turn action into yoga, to become a karma yogi. Mritra Vrinda represents a mind centered on friendliness, a cosmic awareness of oneness with all. Satya, the daughter of Nagnajit, represents the vision of truth. Nagna means naked and Satya means truth. So Nagnajit, naked truth. By stripping away from your personality the various layers of sheets of matter, these sheets are Annamaya Kosh, the physical body, food sheath, Annamaya, Pranamaya, the vital sheath, Manomaya, the mental sheath, uh, intellectual sheath, and the causal sheath. So Annamay, Manomay, Pranamay, Vijnanamay, Anandamay. So intellectual sheath is Vijnanamay. So these five sheaths are all covering us with layers. One reaches the absolute truth once we uncover them one at a time. Remove all these false trappings and the soul discovers its essential grandeur and mastery. Finally, the eighth queen, Lakshmana, symbolizes one who is endowed with all wonderful qualities. So with this we conclude our satsang for today. This is Swami Nikhilanand. Om Tat Sat. I will see you in tomorrow's satsang. Hari Om.